Hello, welcome to my channel. My name is Lwazzz. My friends call me Lwazzz, and on this channel, we discuss matters of faith, empowerment, and mental health and wellness. Today, I wanted to talk about something that I've been wanting to talk about for a really long time, something that I think a lot of people really struggle with in their lifetime, and that is a spirit of rejection. Now, you might be wondering, what is a spirit of rejection? So I'm going to describe the ways in which a spirit of rejection can manifest itself in your life. What I've found is that some of the characteristics of rejection include perfectionism. You struggle with an inferiority complex where you honestly compare yourself to others. You struggle with envy. And when you compare yourself to others, you tend to come up short in your own eyes. People who struggle with that spirit of rejection often feel unloved. They feel unwanted. They struggle in their friendships. There's also this strong sense of self-reliance, strong independence, something that is almost like pathological independence, where you have this belief that you can't rely on other people, you can't ask for help because they won't help you anyway, you're on your own. How is it that you develop a spirit of rejection? How does it come into your life? It can come into your life in ways that are like innocent, so something like bullying or being teased as a child can often trigger a little bit of these feelings of being unwanted or unloved. If you were bullied or teased for the way you looked, for being overweight, for having a stutter, for having a lisp, these things can really weigh you down and make you feel like, okay, maybe there's something wrong with me, maybe I'm not good enough. And that's innocent, that's not even like teasing, being bullied. It might not seem like a big deal, but people in their 50s, 60s, they still recall being bullied as children. So being bullied, being teased, it really has a long-lasting impact on us later on in life. And then the reasons for feeling unwanted, unlovable, worthless, filled with shame can sometimes be a lot more hectic than just being teased or bullied, or just being teased or bullied. It can be something as hectic as abuse, verbal, mental, physical, sexual abuse. These are incredibly traumatic experiences. So childhood trauma plays plays a huge role in people developing this sense of rejection. I think for me, this rejection issue really was a consequence of I'd say more teasing. I think I was teased for the way that I looked. I was teased for, my features, my skin tone, being dark skinned. That really played a role in, that really impacted me for a really long time. Being black, in a majority white school, dealing with microaggressions, racial microaggressions, things that we didn't have the language to describe when we were kids, because it wasn't outright racism, but we could feel that we weren't wanted as black kids in these majority white environments. That also played a role. I remember feeling a lot of pressure, feeling like, I really have to perform academically, because even at 11 years old, I knew that there were low expectations for black students academically. And I remember feeling pressurized, like I need to perform really well because already people think black people are dumb. And so I really need to step it up. And now these are not big deal issues, right? Nobody abused me. I wasn't, I grew up in a really strict household. I think that played a role as well. Growing up in a really authoritarian style household definitely impacted me, impacted my sense of self-esteem, my sense of identity. I struggled with forming my own opinion. I struggled with knowing what I wanted and who I was for a very, very long time. But none of this was like sexual abuse or physical abuse or anything as hectic as that. So I never really knew that I was dealing with the rejection spirit, because nothing bad happened to me in my life. So I never would have thought that something like a rejection spirit could impact me. But I knew that I struggled with pathological independence. I knew that I struggled with feelings of worthlessness. I had feelings of failure. I always struggled with self-loathing, which is it sounds really hectic, like self-loathing, but I did. I struggled with self-loathing. And so it took years for me to recognize that, oh, wait a minute. I think it was only in my 20s when I recognized, okay, I'm dealing with a rejection spirit. And as a believer, as a Christian, I knew that I needed to find my identity in Christ. I needed to go into the Word and believe what God says about me. He knows me. He knew me from when I was in the womb. Before I came into this world, He knew me. God knows the plans He has for me. Plans not to harm me, but to prosper me, to bring me to an expected end. I had to learn, who am I in Christ? And in doing that, it really helped me to identify that this is not of God. These are not God's thoughts towards me. These feelings of shame, failure, this issue of comparing myself to people and always feeling like I come up short, that's not of God. that is the spirit. It's an oppressive spirit, and I knew that I had to deal with it in the spirit. Going to therapy was another practical way for me to deal with it. In going to therapy, I was able to start connecting the dots about where some of these issues came from. And also, don't judge it. Don't tell yourself, oh, I shouldn't feel this way. My life was great. You feel the way you feel, not so that you can feel sorry for yourself and so you can blame people, but so you can connect the dots, so you can begin the process of unlearning what you learned that was wrong and that is harmful to you. So my advice when it comes to dealing with the spirit of rejection is recognize it as a spirit. Recognize it as something oppressive. These are intrusive thoughts that don't represent the truth about who you are. So pray about it. Believe what God says about you, which means you have to know what God says about you. You have to go into the Word and know, what does God say about me? Who am I in Christ? And then also go for therapy. Figure out, connect those dots. Therapy is a great place to talk out your beliefs, talk out things that you've learned, figure out what you've learned that doesn't help you, and undo some of the damage that life and experiences has done to you, societal expectations have done to you. So another thing is I recommend a book. I think there's a really good book that you can read by John Eckhart. I think that's a really good book for you to look into reading as well. So that's as much as I want to say about the spirit of rejection. For me, this video is really just about introducing you to the idea that, the spirit of rejection it's an oppressive spirit. View it as such. View it as intrusive thoughts by the enemy, and recognize that you need to deal with it in a very head-on kind of manner. And so this was just to introduce the concept and the idea to people who may have never thought that something like this could affect them, or that something like this is like a real thing. Okay. So yeah, thank you for watching the video. I didn't want it to be long. I never want my videos to be long. Again, if you like the video, like, subscribe. I appreciate you. Stay low, keep powering.